The old metal door creaked open and a blast of cold air hit Jack's face. He stepped inside the underground chamber, boots crunching against broken stone and blood-stained dust. The glow of alien torches cast long shadows along the damp walls. Somewhere deeper inside, someone cried. Jack, a human explorer and supply runner, wasn't supposed to be here. He had only come to deliver medicine to a Corellian officer, but the officer had smiled strangely and led him to this hidden prison instead. The officer said only one thing, in a harsh, scratchy voice. Pick one sister to save. The other dies now. Jack froze. 2 cages stood side by side. Inside each one sat a girl, both young, both alien, both staring at him with terrified eyes. They looked almost the same. Blue skin, dark stripes on their cheeks, torn dresses, long hair that was once beautiful but now tangled and dusty. They were sisters, twin sisters. One pressed her face against the bars. Please, she whispered. Please save my sister. She's weaker than me. She can't survive this place. The other shook her head. No, don't listen to her. She always sacrifices for others. She deserves to live. Jack's heart pounded. His mouth was dry. He had never seen aliens this scared, and never been forced to make such a choice. Why me? He asked the guard. Because you're human, the guard replied. Your kind is famous for mercy. Let's see how merciful you are when it costs a life. Jack looked at the girls again. One girl was slightly bruised, a swollen eye, a cut lip. The other had a deeper wound on her leg, her hands trembling from pain. But both were still alive. Still hoping. He couldn't speak. Couldn't move. His brain screamed, this is wrong. I'm just a delivery man. But the guard aimed a plasma weapon at one cage. 10 seconds, he hissed. Choose, or I kill them both. Wait, Jack shouted. I need more time. 5 seconds. The girl with the bruised face stepped forward. Choose her, she whispered. She used to sing me to sleep. She's better. The other girl began to cry. No, save her! She always looked after me. Jack felt like the walls were closing in. His hand reached out, trembling, then he pointed. That one, he said. Let her out. The guard pressed a button. The cage door hissed open. The chosen sister stumbled forward, tears rolling down her cheeks. The other girl screamed as guards dragged her away. No! Wait, let me say goodbye! She cried, but no one listened. Jack turned away. He couldn't watch. The chosen sister collapsed in his arms. Her body shook with sobs, but she didn't say anything. Jack gently carried her out of the prison, down the stairs, through the tunnel, and toward his ship. The Corellian officer watched him leave and said one last thing. You chose. Don't regret it. Back inside the ship, Jack placed the girl in the med bay and gave her water. She drank without a word. What's your name? He asked softly. She didn't reply. He repeated the question. Still silence. Then she looked at him with tired eyes and said only this. You picked wrong. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? He asked, but she said no more. She just turned away and curled up on the bed. Later, as the engines hummed and they left the planet's surface, Jack sat alone in the control room, staring at the stars. He had done what he thought was right. He saved the one who looked weaker, the one who didn't ask to be saved, but her last words haunted him. You picked wrong. Now Jack didn't know what scared him more, what he left behind, or what he had brought with him. The girl hadn't spoken again. She sat quietly in the corner of Jack's ship, wrapped in a blanket. Her arms were tightly wrapped around her knees. She stared at the metal floor like she was still in the cage, still trapped. Even though she was free now, something inside her was still locked up. Jack watched her from the other side of the room. He had given her food, clean water, and medicine. She accepted it all, but without a word. No thank you, no name, no questions, just silence. He sat on the edge of a chair and finally said, You can talk to me, you know. I'm not going to hurt you. The girl slowly looked up. Her glowing eyes were dull, tired. I know, she said in a quiet voice. That's the problem. Jack blinked. What do you mean? But she went silent again. Later, Jack went to his command deck and checked his ship's files. He had recorded the prison guard's words, the cage numbers, the logs. He wanted answers. He contacted his AI assistant, Vex. Run a background search on the prison registry. 2 Corellian sisters. Should be listed under last week's arrivals. The screen flashed. Access denied. Try again, Jack said. Warning. Data flagged by Corrali High Command. Restricted content, Jack frowned. Why would a prison record be restricted? Something didn't feel right. He returned to the living space where the girl sat, sipping warm broth. Her movements were slow, careful, like someone used to pain. I need to know who you are, Jack said. She didn't look up. You could be in danger, he added. Or maybe I am. This time she did lift her head. Her voice was soft but heavy with meaning. I don't know who I am anymore, she said. Not after what they did to us. Jack sat across from her. Tell me anything, just a name. She hesitated, then said, They erased our names. We were just numbers. I was 58, my sister was 59. Jack felt a weight in his chest. What did they do to you two? She took a shaky breath. They said we had to fight. Only one could leave. That's what the guard said. But we didn't fight. We held each other. We waited, then one day, they split us. Jack clenched his fists. And then I came along, he muttered. She nodded. You saved the wrong one, she said again. She was the kind one. I survived longer. Jack leaned forward. You think you should have died instead? She didn't answer. Instead, she pulled up her sleeve. A strange symbol was burned into her skin. Alien writing that glowed faintly under the ship's lights. What is that? Jack asked, alarmed. A mark, she whispered. For those chosen to become something else. Something else? She looked him in the eyes, a living weapon. Jack's heart skipped. What do you mean, weapon? She stood slowly, her blanket slipping off her shoulders. Her body was thin, fragile looking. But her presence suddenly felt off, like something inside her had just awakened. They experimented on us, she said. Mind control, implants, training. I don't know what worked and what failed. I just know something's still inside me, something I can't control. Jack stepped back slightly. She noticed. I'm not dangerous now, she added quickly. Not yet. But if they activate it, her voice cracked. I don't want to become that thing, that machine. Jack ran his hand through his hair. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Because you would have thrown me out the airlock, she said, her voice flat. Or worse, taken me back. He stared at her, trying to read her expression. It was hard to tell if she was telling the truth. Or just scared. Maybe both. She wrapped the blanket back around her and sat down again. Jack turned away, his thoughts racing. He had walked into that prison thinking he was saving an innocent girl. Now he wasn't sure who he had brought aboard. A victim, a spy, a living bomb. His comms panel beeped. Incoming signal. Unknown source. He tapped the screen. A message appeared. Unit 58 located. Prepare for retrieval. Jack's blood ran cold. He looked back at the girl. She was already staring at the same screen. Tears in her eyes. I told you, she said softly. They're coming. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat alone in the command chair, eyes locked on the message still glowing on the ship's screen. Unit 58 located. Prepare for retrieval. The words felt like a threat. Behind him, down the hallway, the girl slept in the medbay, or at least she tried to. Jack had heard her tossing, whispering to herself in broken pieces of language he couldn't understand. She hadn't eaten since the message came. Hadn't spoken, just curled up in silence. Jack couldn't stop thinking about her last words. They're coming, but who were they? And what did they want with her? He pulled up the logs again and scanned deeper into the Corellian transmission. A tiny encrypted symbol blinked in the corner. Vex, his AI, beeped in his ear. Captain, I've decrypted a fragment of the signal. It appears to be linked to Project Wraith. Jack raised an eyebrow. What's that? Top-secret Corellian experiment. It involved forced memory rewriting, bioweapons, and loyalty conditioning. Most files were destroyed after the program failed, except for Units 58 and 59. Jack's throat went dry. That wasn't just any girl in his ship. She was a test subject. A ticking time bomb. A soft sound came from the hallway. Jack turned fast, hand near his sidearm, but it was just her. She stood barefoot, wrapped in a blanket again, eyes full of fear. I had another dream, she whispered. Or maybe it was a memory. Jack stayed calm. Tell me. She sat slowly on the floor beside him, knees close to her chest. I saw myself in a white room, cold, bright, too bright. There were wires in my head, and voices. Jack leaned closer. What did the voices say? She shook her head. They asked me about humans. They showed me pictures of cities, people, children, then they made me choose who to destroy. Jack's stomach twisted. I said no, she continued, voice trembling. But they shocked me, over and over, until I stopped saying no. Jack tried to stay calm. And now? She looked up at him, something wild and broken in her expression. I don't know what parts of me are real anymore. She tapped her temple lightly. I hear things. Sometimes I see flashes, faces I never met, places I've never been. And sometimes I want to hurt people. Jack stood slowly, uneasy. But you haven't, he said carefully. She nodded. Not yet. They sat in silence. Outside the ship, space drifted by quietly. But inside, the air felt heavier than ever. Later, Jack went back to the command deck and ran one last deep scan. He spoke to Vex. Search again. What happened to Unit 59? Vex hesitated. Warning, highly restricted. Attempting bypass, the screen flashed. A short video appeared. It was blurry. But Jack saw it, a prison cell. 2 girls. One holding the other, crying. Then, flashes of soldiers. A screaming alarm. And one girl, Unit 59, being dragged into a black room. She wasn't struggling, she was smiling. Jack paused the footage. That smile. That same cold smile he had seen. Before he left the prison. Suddenly a horrible thought crept into his mind. What if he hadn't saved Unit 58 at all? What if they had already switched places? What if he brought back the wrong sister? He turned to the girl. Tell me something only you would know, he said sharply. She blinked, confused. What? At the prison? Who offered herself first? Who said to save the other? She froze. I did, she said. I told you to save her. No, Jack said coldly. You were silent. You just stared at me. She opened her mouth but said nothing. Jack's voice lowered. Who are you really? The girl stood. Her face pale, her lips trembling. I don't know, she said softly. I don't know anymore. Then she collapsed. Jack rushed to her side. She was shaking uncontrollably, her eyes rolling back, her body going stiff. Her voice came in broken gasps. Unit 50. And then, nothing. A pulse of light shot out from under her skin and a strange tone filled the ship. Vex screamed in his ear. Emergency! Neural pulse detected. Unknown signal broadcasting from the girl's body. Jack backed away in horror. The lights dimmed, and on the ship's wall a new message burned itself into the screen. Wraith protocol activated. Mission begins, Jack whispered. Oh no, because now he didn't just doubt who she was. He doubted if she was even in control of herself anymore. Jack sealed the med bay door. The girl, if she could still be called that, lay unconscious on the medical table, breathing slowly. Her face looked peaceful now. Too peaceful. But just 10 minutes ago, her body had pulsed with a strange blue light and the ship's alarms had gone crazy. Jack had never seen anything like it. The neural scan from Vex still blinked on his screen. Unknown code detected. Wraith PHX 58. Protocol initialized. No override found. He stared at the data. What have I done? Jack whispered. He had saved her. Fed her. Protected her. But what if she was never the victim? What if she was lying from the very start? Vex spoke in a low tone. Captain, I found an additional log fragment hidden under encryption. Someone tried to erase it. Want me to play it? Jack nodded. A shaky video played. It showed a Corellian scientist standing beside 2 cryopods. Inside each was a girl, identical. The scientist said, Subjects 58 and 59 now complete. 58 carries the data core. 59 is the behavioral clone. Both believe they are real. Jack's jaw tightened. Both believe they are real? The screen flashed again. Primary directive implanted in Unit 58. Gain human trust, locate base, release payload. Jack slammed his fist on the console. So she was the weapon. But then another line appeared. Update. Behavioral anomaly detected. Subject 58 shows emotional hesitation. Memories bleeding through. Recommending immediate termination. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Wait, they plan to terminate her? Why? He quickly pulled up the prison footage again. The moment of the choice, 2 girls. One saying, choose her, the other crying, no, save her. Jack rewound it frame by frame. Then he paused. One detail jumped out. The girl he had chosen. She had a scar above her eyebrow. He remembered that clearly. But now, the girl sleeping in his medbay had no scar. His stomach dropped. They switched, he whispered. They tricked me. Jack ran back to the medbay. She was sitting up now, breathing hard, clutching her head. When she saw him, she looked terrified. They're inside me, she said quickly. I can feel them, voices, commands. Jack didn't speak, he just stared. Then he said coldly, Where's the scar? She froze. What? You had a scar? Above your eye? I saw it in the cage. You don't have it now, she looked away. I healed, she lied. No, Jack said. They switched you. You weren't the one I picked. You're the one who smiled when your sister was dragged away. The girl's hands tightened into fists. I didn't smile, she whispered. Yes, Jack snapped. I watched the footage. You smiled, her eyes filled with tears. I had to. She begged me to. We made a plan, Jack paused. A plan? She nodded. She knew the Corellian guards would never let both of us out. We guessed they would make someone choose, so we acted. I took her place. Because she was softer, kinder. She wouldn't survive outside. But me, I could pretend. I could fight. Jack stepped back, unsure. Then why not tell me the truth? Because if you knew I lied, she said, voice breaking, you'd throw me out the airlock. The ship trembled. An alarm blared. Multiple ships approaching. Corellian frequency detected. Arrival in 90 seconds, Jack cursed under his breath. They tracked her. They want her back. She stood up, legs shaking. You have to let me go, she said. They won't stop while I'm here, Jack's voice was firm. If you were the weapon, why would they try to destroy you now? She looked straight into his eyes. Because I'm broken. I didn't follow the command. I was supposed to kill you days ago. Silence filled the room. Jack raised his gun slowly. Her voice shook. I'm not the same anymore. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't even know if I can. But I remember my sister. I remember her singing to me in the cell. I remember loving her. That part of me is still real. He aimed at her. I want to believe you, he said. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Then give me a chance. The ship shook harder. Corellian boarding pods inbound. Vex reported. Jack lowered his weapon. One chance, he said. Prove to me you're not the one who lied. She took a deep breath. Open the weapons bay, she said. Let me fight them off. You could run, he warned. I could, she nodded. But I won't. Jack stared at her for one final moment, then he turned, unlocked the weapons bay, and said, Let's see who you really are. The ship rocked violently as plasma bolts slammed against its shields. Jack rushed to the cockpit, shouting, Vex, how many ships? 3 Corellian hunters, all armed. Shields holding for now, but not for long. Behind him, the girl, Unit 58, or maybe just a sister with no name, was strapping on a stolen plasma blaster. Her hands shook, but her eyes were focused. Jack hesitated. You sure you're not going to turn on me once I give you a weapon? She looked at him with sadness in her voice. I already had the chance. I didn't. He tossed her a second energy cell. Then let's not die today. They split up. Jack stayed at the front. She moved to the lower deck to protect the engine core. The first boarding pod smashed into the side of the ship with a heavy clang. Red warning lights flashed across every corridor. Jack took cover behind a bulkhead just as the doors hissed open. 2 armored Corellians stormed in, tall and lizard-like, skin plated with metal. He fired twice, hitting one in the shoulder. The second rushed forward with a growl but suddenly dropped as a shot rang out from behind. She stood there, breathing hard, weapon still smoking. Jack nodded. Nice shot, she didn't smile. I'm not a killer, she whispered. But I'll do what I have to. After the fight, Jack ran back to the command center and pulled up the prison logs again. He couldn't stop thinking about the video he saw. Behavioral anomaly detected. Unit 58, memories bleeding through. Something didn't sit right. He asked Vex, Is there any chance? The real sister, the one I left behind, is still alive? Vex paused. Unlikely. Records say she was scheduled for termination after subject switch. Jack narrowed his eyes. Scheduled. But not confirmed. Vex hesitated. There is one possible match. A prisoner was moved from that block 3 days after your visit. No name. Code red clearance. Where? Jack demanded. Deep sector. Below the prison. Level 9. Restricted zone. Jack felt the blood drain from his face. That level was rumored to be a testing ground for failed experiments. A place where screams were never heard? If she was still there? "I have to go back," Jack said out loud. The girl walked in behind him, arms scratched from the fight but alive. "Go back where?" He turned to her slowly. "I think your sister might still be alive." Her eyes widened. "What? No. They said she said no, they lied," Jack cut in. "The Corellian system never confirmed her death. Someone moved her." Her lips trembled. "Then we have to go," she whispered. "You're not afraid?" he asked. "I'm terrified," she admitted. "But if she's down there, if I let her die while I'm up here pretending to be her, I'm no better than them." Hours later, Jack's ship hovered outside the same prison he had once left behind. The Corellians were gone, retreated after failing to retrieve their weapon. The main gates were locked, but Jack had already hacked the entry once before. They descended through tunnels covered in thick dust and broken lights. No guards, no sounds, just silence, but the deeper they went, the colder it got. "She's down here," the girl said softly. "I feel it. Something's pulling me." They reached level 9. The door was heavy, old, and sealed tight. Jack used a manual crank. Metal groaned as the door opened, and inside, a single bed. A figure lying still, hooked to machines, barely breathing, skin pale, wounds old and deep. Jack took a step forward. The girl rushed past him and fell to her knees beside the bed. "Sister," she whispered. "It's me." The figure stirred, barely. Her lips moved. A word formed, liar. Tears rolled down the standing girl's cheeks. I had to lie. For both of us. Jack watched, unable to speak. This wasn't just a reunion. It was something deeper. Two halves of a broken whole. One who remembered too much, and one who forgot to survive. Suddenly, the machines beeped faster. The sister on the bed began to convulse. Jack rushed over. "She's fading." The girl grabbed her sister's hand. "No, please. Don't leave me." "I'm sorry," the sister whispered. "You weren't the weapon. I was." And then, her body went still. A soft tone beeped. "Flatline," the girl cried out, holding her tightly. "No, don't say that." But it was too late. She was gone. Back on the ship, the girl sat in silence. Jack placed a small necklace in her hand, something he had found beside the bed. 2 tiny rings. Melted together, the girl clutched it. "She protected me," she said. "Even now." She took the code. Took the pain. "So I could be free." Jack sat beside her. "You are free now." She nodded slowly. "But what do I do with it?" Jack looked at her seriously. "You make sure it was worth it." Jack didn't say a word during the flight back. The girl sat in the co-pilot seat, silent too. Her eyes stared at the necklace in her hands. 2 small rings melted together, the only thing her sister had left behind. Outside the window, the stars drifted quietly, peaceful. But inside the ship, the air was tense, heavy, as if something unseen was moving just under the surface. Jack broke the silence first. "I checked the med scans." She didn't look at him. "You're not just carrying trauma," he said. "There's a trigger in your brain, some kind of biocode." She finally turned to him, voice low. "Is it going to kill me?" "No," he replied, "but it might kill everyone else." Jack walked to the main console and pulled up a hologram. It showed her brain scan, lit up with small glowing dots. "These," he pointed, "are artificial. Corellians planted them inside you, and when they activate, they take over." She clenched the necklace harder. "Then why didn't it happen yet?" Jack hesitated. "Because your sister took the full load. The real weapon code was split. She absorbed the core programming. You got the backup." She nodded slowly, a tear sliding down her cheek. "So I was never the target. Just a second copy." Jack looked at her seriously. "Not anymore. With your sister gone, you're now the only copy." Just then, the ship alarm buzzed. Incoming message. High priority Corellian broadcast. Jack opened the channel, expecting a threat. But what came was worse. To the human pilot, "You have interfered with classified operations. Subject 58 carries the Echo protocol. In 72 hours, she will auto-activate. The destruction will be your fault." The message ended. The girl gasped. "Echo protocol? What is that?" Jack swallowed hard. "I've heard of it. From a spy I met years ago. It's a delayed weapon system. Hidden inside living test subjects, he looked her in the eye. They turned into walking bombs. Her face went pale. I don't want to die. I don't want to hurt anyone. Jack slammed his fist on the panel. We need to shut it down now. He opened a hidden panel beneath the command deck. Inside was a cold metal chip, a forbidden AI code fragment. I swore I'd never use this, Jack muttered. But I didn't think I'd ever meet someone like you. The girl stared at the chip. What is it? Jack's voice was serious. A virus. It can go inside your system and destroy the Corellian program. She nodded. Let's do it, he frowned. It might work. But it also might wipe your memory or your mind, she hesitated. Would I forget my sister? Maybe everything, Jack said gently. She looked at the necklace again. Then at least let me say goodbye. While I still remember. They stood together in the back room. She placed the necklace into a small glass box, sealed it, and set it beside her bed. Then she took a deep breath. I'm ready. Jack placed the chip into the scanner. Once it starts, you'll feel cold. You might see things, but stay awake. Talk to me if you can, she nodded. Thank you, Jack. For what? For treating me like a person, she said. Not a weapon. He gave her a small, tired smile. Then don't die on me, all right? The chip activated. At first, nothing happened. Then her body jerked. Her eyes rolled back. Her hands shook violently. Stay with me, Jack shouted. I see her, she mumbled. Who? My sister. She's in the snow. She's calling me. Jack tightened the scan. That's your brain trying to break. Fight it. I don't want to forget her, she screamed. Please. Jack leaned closer. Hold on to her memory. Not the pain. Not the commands. Just her voice. Suddenly, a high-pitched tone screamed through the ship. Lights flickered. Her body arched, and then fell still. Jack rushed forward. No, wake up. He scanned her vitals. Faint heartbeat. Brain activity flat. Then a flicker. Then another. Her eyes opened slowly. Tears rolled down. I'm still me, she whispered. Jack laughed with relief. But, she added softly. He paused. But the trigger is still there. She closed her eyes. So it didn't work. No, Jack said, but it gave us time. Maybe 48 more hours before activation. She smiled sadly. Then let's make them count. The stars outside the ship looked calm, but inside Jack's mind was at war. 2 days. That's all she had. Maybe less. The virus slowed the echo protocol but didn't stop it. The timer was still ticking inside her brain. A countdown to something deadly. She sat across from him now, wrapped in a jacket, legs pulled up on the chair, staring at nothing. Jack wanted to ask how she felt. But he already knew the answer. Terrified, not of death, but of hurting someone, hurting him. The silence broke when she finally whispered, I can feel it. Jack turned. What do you mean? She placed her hand on her chest. The pulse. It's stronger now, faster, like something is waking up inside me. He nodded slowly. It's trying to take over. She looked up at him, her voice shaking. Then you'll have to kill me. No, Jack said immediately. You said it yourself. If the protocol finishes, I'll explode. I'll take you, this ship, maybe even the next planet you land on. He stood, pacing. I'm not going to kill someone who fought this hard to live. We'll find another way, she gave a weak smile. You're stubborn. He looked back at her. You're brave. Later that night, Jack walked into the storage room looking for tools. Vex had mentioned a backup interface hidden in the ship's core, something that could potentially shut down bioweapons remotely. But when he opened the locker, he stopped. A small note sat on top of the tool case. His name was written on it, just one word, Jack. He opened it. I'm sorry. You were kind. You gave me more than anyone ever did. But this isn't your fight anymore. I won't let you carry my death on your hands. Please don't follow me. His eyes widened. No. He ran to the main deck. The ship's outer door was open. Outside, on the rocky moon they were orbiting. The girl walked slowly across the cold surface. A thin oxygen mask covered her face, but she didn't look back. She had taken only one thing with her, the glass box with her sister's necklace. Jack's voice came through her calm. Come back now, please, don't do this. Her voice was calm but sad. I'm tired of running. Tired of being a weapon. You're not a weapon, Jack shouted. You're a survivor. You chose not to kill. You beat the program once, you can do it again. She paused. I'm scared, she whispered. I know, he said. But you're not alone anymore. She stopped walking. Silence hung in the calm. Then, her knees dropped. She sat down on the rock glass box in her lap. I keep hearing her voice, she said. My sister, telling me not to give up. Jack stepped onto the moon, walking slowly toward her. I hear her too, he said. Through you. The two of them sat there under the stars. Quiet, breathing, waiting. The pulse inside her chest grew stronger. A wave of heat ran up her spine. Her vision blurred. Jack, it's happening. He grabbed her hand. Look at me. Her eyes met his. Whatever happens, don't let go, she begged. I won't, he said. The light in her skin began to glow blue. The same glow he had seen before, the sign of the Echo Protocol. But this time, something was different. She didn't scream, she didn't panic, she closed her eyes. And remembered, not pain, not fear. She remembered her sister's song, the one she used to hum at night in the prison. Soft, kind, warm. She began to hum it. And as she did, the glow stopped, just stopped. Her eyes flew open, the pulse was gone. I think it's over. Jack blinked. What? I don't feel it anymore. It's quiet, Vex's voice crackled through the calm. Captain, life sign stabilized. No echo signal. Protocol appears fully deactivated. Jack stared at her in shock. You shut it down? With a memory? She smiled faintly. Not just a memory. Love. That was the one thing they couldn't program. Back inside the ship, Jack watched her sleep peacefully for the first time. The glass box with the necklace sat beside her bed. He walked to the console, opened the mission log, and typed one final note. Subject 58 is no longer a weapon. She is a person, a survivor, a sister. Her life was stolen, but she earned it back with courage no machine could match. He hit save, then leaned back in the chair. The stars outside still drifted. Quiet as always, but this time Jack knew something dangerous had been defeated. Not with fire, not with guns, but with the power of memory and the strength of choosing love over fear.